Alright, welcome back to the Grant Garage. Today what we have is my 2011 Chevy Silverado. And the problem that I have that we'll be dealing with is I have no running lights on the rear, on either side, and my license plate lights are out as well. So we're going to be looking into that a little bit. The first step is to get a service manual or something to get wiring diagrams. You can absolutely do it without it, but it's so much easier. Now I've already looked through the wiring diagrams, and I found there is a relay that would control those, and each side has an individual fuse. They all quit at the same time, so it's probably not the fuse because it seems unlikely that both fuses would have went at the same time. And according to this book, the same relay that hooks to those also powers the front marker lights, and those still work on this. So it's not likely to be the relay either. Right, so looking through here again, there are two brown wires that come from the front leading back to here, and then they go into a junction block, and from there they will go up to the tail lights. Now, once again, because there's two separate wires, they both quit at the same time, they both go through that junction block, they both go up to their own individual sides. I suspect that junction block is bad, so we're going to run a couple tests on that. Alright, so my junction block is hidden up here. It's covered in snow, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. Where we live, that's bound to happen. So the first thing I did is I just went and grabbed my heat gun, and I'm just going to kind of, from a distance, melt that away. I also noticed that I'm zip tied in with it, so there's been some issue with it before. So it's just going to be this for a minute. Alrighty, so I've pulled this block down. It was only held in by the zip tie, because actually the bracket that holds it's pretty rotted, so I don't know, it's probably going to get held back up with another zip tie when I'm done. That'll be fine. But what I'm noticing is those two brown wires up there are the ones from the vehicle. Those should be delivering my power, but they are not. So then I look to where they go here, and I have this nice heat shrunk thing to a black wire, and that runs into one of these little clips here. I forget what the name of these are, because I don't use them. They're terrible. And I'm sure that my problem right now is that the corrosion in there doesn't make a connection anymore. But we're going to see why those wires aren't hooked up anymore, because that doesn't make any sense to me. Alrighty, so what I've done, and unfortunately I couldn't film it because I'm self-filming and doing it, couldn't get my hands up there. But these are the two brown wires that are supposed to bring power from in the fuse box and the relay and stuff back here to this block. So the first thing I did was I just stripped them back a little bit so I could measure them, and they both have voltage now that I have the headlights on. So I actually have no idea why they were unhooked. Like, these blocks are somewhat known to have issues because, you know, they mount right underneath here, and when this type of weather happens, that can be a problem. So I have no idea why they were removed, but I guess I'm just going to hook them right back up. So I'm going to unhook this here because it's running off my trailer wiring, which I kind of suspect is why they're actually having trouble. Well, like I said, that blue connector I think is why they're having trouble. So I'm just going to undo this, strip the wires back, hook them up, and check the taillights. Alright, so what I'm basically just trying to do here is strip off this insulation from this heat shrink so I can get as much of the wire back from here as possible. Basically strip it there. I'll cut it as close to the crimp as I can, and then put some different connectors on it to just hook them right back where they're supposed to be. I can make this a little easier on myself too. If I just get this little connector out of here, throw it in the trash where it belongs. Clip that. Just get that wire right out of there. Now keep getting the insulation off of it. It's kind of funny, like, they made an odd repair, but when they made it, they used heat shrink, which is good. You know, it makes a more reliable connection. It's just weird that they used it on something that didn't need a connection. I'm sure somebody probably had a good reason in their head for doing it, but it's not correct. Alrighty, now there is one problem with the way that I'm doing this, and that's that there's 2 brown wires there, 2 brown wires here. One is for each side of the truck, and I don't actually know which one is for which side of the truck. So potentially I may be hooking it to the wrong side of the truck, but it's the same amperage fuse, it comes from the same relay. Not actually going to hurt it. Won't actually hurt anything. Unless there's a future diagnostic issue and it might throw me off then. I could potentially hook up to here and then go up to the fuses up front and just run a continuity test. It would tell me which one it is, but I'm not going to. It should work just fine. Now, the type of connector that I'm going to use is these little guys right here. Basically, there's a piece of solder in there. The red things are glue, and then it's heat shrinker on the outside. There's a couple name brands of them. These are not the name brands. I get them on eBay. And they work just as well as the name brands, so I don't really worry about it too much. But you basically just slide it over, get the wire part up into the solder. I'm going to go ahead and get both of them on there. I can probably do them both at the same time. If not, I'll be upset at myself in a minute for doing it. But it should work. Okay. Got that. I'm going to tuck this block up out of the way somewhere. Ugh, drop snow on me. Okay, do that. And get the other wires in there. Okay, I'm not going to be able to do both of them at once, because I'm going to have to hold pressure on it. Otherwise the wire is going to slide out on me. Then it's heat shrink. However you do heat shrink, I like to use the heat gun for it. Plus I kind of like to warm up my fingers because it's like 10 degrees out right now. If you hear any background noise besides this heat gun, I apologize. We got like 2 feet of snow last night, so everybody's out clearing their driveways. So yeah, I know you can't see it, but I have the wires pushed into that connector, and I'm up there just gonna melt it all together. Melts the solder, glues the wires, shrinks the heat shrink. Sometimes you do have to hold it if you move it too quickly while the solder's still wet. The heat shrink is shrunk, but it's soft. Just shine a light up there. Needs a little bit more time with the heat. Okay, hold it for a sec just to make sure the solder has time to harden again. Okay, got one. Same thing for the other one. They do sell little like soldering jigs with alligator clips to hold stuff like this. And I kind of wish I had one, because that would be amazing right now. I can't hold my fingers too close because the heat gun is, you know, as it suggests, hot. Let that cool down for a minute. Now I'll pull this block back down from where I have it. plug it in. Okay. Then we'll go see if I have tail lights. So you can see tail light, tail light, tail light, tail light, plate light, and plate light. Alright, so the only thing I guess left to do is just, for right now, I'm going to zip tie that back up. Actually, probably for complete, if I'm being completely honest, I'll probably zip tie it up and forget about it. There was quite a bit of corrosion in that block, that little junction block down there. They're about $35 at O'Reilly's. I'm probably just going to buy a new one, because it's easier than cleaning all the corrosion out of it. I have no idea why they were actually disconnected before and hooked up to the trailer lights. Best I can come up with is maybe it had blown a fuse and whoever was doing it just kind of checked for power, and this one has power, so they hooked it. Honestly, I don't know. All I have is speculation. But I just noticed them not working a couple nights ago in a snowstorm. My best guess is that it probably went out last time I had a trailer hooked to it, because the fuse that it was hooked to, or the wire it was hooked to, is for my trailer plug. So it's only made to power the trailer, but it was powering these and the trailer. I don't know. It's all guesses. But they're hooked back up correctly now, and they work. So I don't know. I guess that's that brings the video to a close. It was pretty quick, which I like, because, you know, simple is good, especially when it's cold. I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. I'm freezing right now. So yeah, wrap it up real quickly. Thanks for watching the Grant Garage. Like the video, subscribe, comment, interact with me to tell me what you want to see. If you have any questions about this, I can go over some of that stuff. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.